Welcome back to the online sessions on embedded systems. So we will be dealing with programming the 8051 microcontroller now. So we had all the basics required to go with the programming with 8051 microcontroller. And to do the programming, to write the program, we have to compulsorily write the mnemonic code. And the mnemonic code is normally going to come up with the operands. So whenever we're going to write a program, total program, usually every program is going to have three kind of things. One is going to be the label, instruction, and followed by the comments. So whatever you write with semicolon known as comments, whatever you write label with colon is nothing but label, and instruction is going to come with mnemonic followed by its operands. Okay, so mnemonic is known as the name of the function. Operands are going to be the parameters on which the function is normally going to get implemented. And the comments are represented by going with a semicolon. So this is what the various things which we normally going to use for writing a program. Now here what happens, the instruction, what is most important is the mnemonic with operands is the important one for us. So the instruction is any one of the code set that has been defined by the manufacturer of 8051. So we cannot write whatever that we wanted to write in the assembly language code. So whatever the manufacturer of a particular microcontroller is going to give us the instruction set, that instruction set only has to be used to write the programs. So therefore, one has to understand or know the instruction set of a particular microcontroller to write a program, for that particular microcontroller. So every instruction can be converted into the unique machine language binary code that can be acted on by the internal circuitry of the 8051 microcontroller. Then the microcontroller is simply going to execute those instructions. So here the syntax is given by simply mnemonics followed by operands, which has been given already. And all the instructions are normally going to use the addressing modes. So we already discussed about what is an addressing mode. Addressing mode is nothing but specifying the address of the operand is known as the addressing modes. So compulsorily every instruction is going to use the data, and this data is normally given by the operands. So the way of specifying the address of the operand is called as addressing modes. The 8051 microcontroller is having four addressing modes for accessing the data. The already we discussed this called as immediate addressing mode, register addressing mode, direct and indirect addressing mode. Okay, and the instructions which we have is going to be data transfer instructions. Data transfer instructions are being written by using MOV is for data transfer instructions. MOVX is normally used, which moves the data byte from external RAM source address to the register A. So this is what the data transfer instructions. And some other data transfer instructions are going to be called as push pop instructions and also exchange instructions. So push is normally going to copy a byte to the internal stack from the internal RAM source. Pop is going to brought back the data into the internal RAM from the stack memory location. Exchange is going to exchange the data or transfer the data between the register and the internal RAM. We have to mention those two things in the operands. Okay, so this is what the basic usage of the push, pop, and move instructions. And one more we have move called move C, moves data from external or internal RAM source to the destination A by considering the carry. So this is what the move instructions. So anyway, more or less, you should understand for data transfer, you have to use move instructions, push, pop, and exchange instructions. And other, we're going to have logical instructions. So what are the logical instructions? There are two types of logical instructions: byte level logical instructions and a bit level logical instructions. So for a byte level logical instructions, what happens is that we normally going to have several byte level logical instructions with end operations, or operations, XOR operations, complement operations. So we use all of these operations for a byte level operations. So some of the flag registers are simply going to get affected by this, called as carry flag is normally going to get affected by this byte level instructions. So byte level logical operations use all four addressing modes. which we discussed earlier. And logical operations at byte level is normally being done using the addressing modes. The destination address of the operation can be accumulator, a general purpose register, or a direct address registers. Okay. So these are the byte level. Now some of the logical operations which we can have going to be called as ANL, known as end operation. It performs logical end operation. So where the operands are going to be A and 55H, and each bit in accumulator A with the corresponding bit in the 55H. So 55H is the data, directly immediate data now, leaving the result in the accumulator. The result is stored in the accumulator after the end operation. Now here we perform end operation between 42H. So end operation in a RAM location 42H. So 42H is nothing but the address of the RAM location. So whatever data which is there in the RAM location of 42H is normally taken, and whatever data pointed by R4, okay, is normally used here, and leaving the result in the RAM location of 42H. The result is once again stored in the destination called as 42H register. So 42H is nothing but the direct address method. This is immediate address method. Using direct address method, we normally going to locate the address of the memory location. So like this, this is normally performed. Then next one is going to be OR operation. OR operation, OR each bit in accumulator with a corresponding bit in the number whose address is contained in R1. So R1 is a register. This R1 is going to contain the address. Now the value at the address is normally going to be performed OR operation with A, and result is stored in the A. Next is XOR operation, similar to the XOR operation. XOR each bit in R4 with corresponding bit in the RAM. This is going to be once again direct addressing mode. Result is stored in the accumulator. Then complement each bit in R0 and store that result in R0 itself. So this is what a byte level logical operations. The next one is bit level logical operations. Carry flag in the destination of the most bit level logical operations. So carry flag is simply going to get affected by this. So the following special function registers uh, only are addressable in bit level operations, known as program status word, interrupt, enable, IP, TCON register, SCON register. All these are the special function registers where they can be addressed by bit level. So some of the instructions at a bit level, we can write it like this. Set B 22FH is going to have a bit 7 of the internal RAM location 25H is simply set. So bit level 7 of the internal RAM location 25H is set by this particular instruction. So clear C, clear the carry flag, complement bit 0 of the internal RAM 24H location. This is the instruction for that. And like this, we're going to have several bit level instruction, logical instructions, which we can write. And apart from this, we're going to have other logical instructions called as OR instruction, RC with the 1 bit of port 1. 91H is nothing but the address of port 1. So these 90, 91H are going to be special function register address locations. So it is normally going to perform R 91 location with bit 1 of port 1. 91 is nothing but port 1. Bit 1 of port 1 is performed with OR operation with C. C is nothing but carry flag. Then other instructions, popular instructions are going to be called as rotate instructions. So here these rotate instructions are normally used to rotate the contents of the accumulator. Let us see how it is normally going to be done. Now, why we have to use these rotate operations, rotate instructions? The ability to rotate the accumulator A contents data is useful to allow examination of the individual bits. To examine individual bits, we normally going to rotate the bits in the accumulator. So such as rotate left accumulator, 1 bit. So that means RLA means what? RL space A means what? It rotates accumulator A 1 bit to the left. It is going to be simply a one time rotation. One bit, all the bits are shifted by one clock cycle, one time. That means bit 7 rotates to the bit 1 position. Then rotate left with carry. So one more carry is also been used here for rotating the bits. Rotate accumulator to the right clockwise. Rotate accumulator right with a carry flag also. That means here, if you use RLCA, if you don't use RLCA, what happens? Bit 7 of accumulator A is simply rotated to the bit 0. Now, whereas here in the RLC, what happens? The bit 7 of the accumulator A will go to the carry flag, and the contents of carry flag will go into the bit 0 in the case of the RLCA. Like that, the rotate left with carry is simply going to get executed. Similarly, RR stands for rotate right the contents of the accumulator 1 bit. Same wise, rotate accumulator right with carry. Okay. The next one is going to be the swap instruction. Swap instruction is going to swap the nibble contents of the register that we mentioned here. So we mentioned swap A, the internal 4 bits are normally going to get swapped. Lower order nibble bits are swapped with higher order nibble bits. So this is what one of the data transfer instructions. So after we discuss these things, let us try to go with some of the instructions, some of the programs of the 8051 microcontroller now. So this particular slide has been explained already in the very beginning of the 8051 microcontroller, where we discussed about various instruction sets, architecture of 8051, instruction set, all these things. And after we have completed up to here, intentionally the leftover portion, the leftover slides have been left to vacant, just to, it has been lefted for intentional purpose. Now we'll try to cover those particular programs now. We have several types of instructions of 8051 called arithmetic, logical, data transfer, Boolean variables, program branching instructions. Okay. So arithmetic instructions are going to be what now? It involves addition, subtraction, multiplication, division are known as the arithmetic instructions. So all arithmetic instructions are executed in one machine cycle except the increment DPTR, which takes 2 cycles. And multiply and division is going to take 4 cycles to complete its operations. So examples of arithmetic instructions, how we can use add a comma 7f means what? The contents of accumulator added with 7f and result is stored in the 7f. So what type of addressing mode is involved here in this? It is involving with a direct addressing mode, because directly address is being mentioned here. Then at the rate R naught is the internal register. So the contents of R naught is going to contain the address where the data is resided. So at the rate R naught means what? The value at the address contained in R naught operator it is. So that value is normally added with the contents of accumulator. Result is stored in the accumulator. The next is add a comma R7. So R7 is the register. So the contents, whatever this R7 is really has got the data, that data is added with accumulator A. Result is stored in the accumulator. And one more instruction type is going to be add a comma hash 35. So 35 is immediate data. That directly 35 is added with A. Result is stored in A. So this is how we normally going to execute the instructions. So by using these instructions, let us try to do some problems now. So we'll try to solve one small problem now, do one small problem. That is, say for example, accumulator A contains 63. Now how do we transfer 63 to the accumulator? By using the move instruction. We say move space A comma 63 and R3 contains 23. Move R3 comma R3, move space R3 comma 23. Thereby we normally going to have the contents. R3 contains 23, A contains 63. And program status bar contains 00. That means we say simply move PSW comma 00. Now, what is the content of the accumulator and the PSW after executing add instruction? So now next we perform instruction called add a comma R3. So what will happen by doing so? R3 contains 23. So 23 is added with the contents of accumulator called 63. Now once these two are added, what is that the result now? 86 is the result for us. So accumulator contains 86. Carry flag is not set by because carry is not generated. Overflow flag is equal to 1 and a parity flag is will be equal to 1. So then program status word contents are going to be like this. So this is what the program, which small program we can write. The next program we can write is going to be write code that subtracts contents of R6 from R7 and leave the result in R7. That is the program statement we have. So we have to add, we have to subtract contents of R7, subtract contents of R6 from R7. Subtract contents of R6 from R7. That means R7 minus R6 you have to perform, and result you have to store in the R7. R7 minus R6, result is stored in R7. That means, what is the equation? I can write it here as R7 is equal to R7 minus R6. You have to perform. So to perform that, R7 is equal to R7 minus R6. What we are doing? First of all, this R7 contents are, let us imagine that R7 is having some data, R6 is having some data. So R7, first of all, we are moving into accumulator. Then we are clearing the carry flag intentionally, because in case subtraction needs a borrow, so we subtract with borrow a comma R7. Means what? It is going to perform an operation like R7 is equal to R7 minus R6. What the A7, what the accumulator contains? Contents of R7. Means what? R7. So result is stored in the accumulator. So that is why what I am doing here, it becomes something like A is equal to A minus R6. So contents of A is contents of R7 minus contents of R6. Result is stored in A, and this A is transferred into R7. So that is what the leave the result in the R7. So this is how we normally going to write the program to execute this particular code. Okay. Then another simple code is going to be like increment 7f, increment the value in memory location 7f. INC is nothing but instruction, can also work on 16-bit data pointer, DPTR pointer. We can think of something like that. So this small code is normally used to show how to decrement the data pointer and how to skip or how to transfer the location from current location to some other location. So here decrement DPL, there is a pointer called DPTR which is 16-bit register. So you can use 8 bits of the 16-bit register. So decrement DPL means what? Lower order data pointer register is decremented by 1, and the lower order data is being moved into R7, and compare the contents of R7 with FF, skip, jump. That means this is jump if not equal. So after you perform comparison operation, if they are not equal, simply jump to the skip location. Skip contains some other program here. Otherwise, decrement the DPTR higher order location. So this is what the code snippet that we have here. Well, the other instructions following in the arithmetic operations are going to be the multiply operations. Multiply and division are very important instructions. So how this multiply instruction will be executed, how we'll write this instruction as. So as we discussed earlier, in multiply instruction, we'll be using A and B registers only. This is what the very important thing. Whatever that is given in the exams, let us suppose he may give us in the exam, multiply the contents of R7 and R6 registers. Even though he says that, but still we have to use only AB. That means you have to transfer R6, R7 into A and B, then you have to simply multiply these two. So how it is going to get executed? It multiplies 8-bit unsigned values in A and B and leaves the 16-bit result in A with lower order byte result and in B higher order byte result. So in this process, if the product is greater than 255, then overflow flag is normally set. So for example, imagine that accumulator contains 55H, A is equal to 55H, B is going to be 22H, and program status word initially is equal to 0. Then after we execute multiply instruction, what is going to happen? Then definitely the result is going to be greater than 255H. Therefore, overflow flag will be set. And 16-bit, in the 16-bit result, lower order data is stored in 4A, higher order is stored in B register. That means the overall result we can write as equal to 0B 4AH is the overall result. The next operation is going to be division operation. Division means div space AB. It is normally going to perform like division A by B, leaving the result integer result in A and the remainder in B register. So this is what the operation. And one more uh, one more type of operation is going to be BCD arithmetic operations. So for BCD arithmetic, we will be using for BCD arithmetic also we are going to use add operation, ADD instruction. So ADD and ADDC must be followed by DA instruction, which is called decimal adjust after addition and the contents is stored in the accumulator to ensure the result is in the range for the BCD value. So ADDC simultaneously adds the accumulator, the variable and the carry flag. So that means what here the ADDC is going to add with the carry. That is what thing which we're going to have. So note that this DA will not convert a binary number to the BCD. DA instruction is not going to convert the binary to BCD, but only represent the decimal adjust of the BCD number only. So let us look into this now. So if accumulator contains BCD value of 59, then let us execute these instructions. Add a comma hash 1. If 1 is added to this, what will happen? Decimal BCD contains only maximum number of 9. If you add 1, then it is simply going to disturb the basic operation of the BCD. Therefore, we perform this DA instruction. So by performing DA instruction, it is simply going to preserve the result of the BCD addition. Okay. So first it adds 1 to the accumulator, leaving 5A, and then adjusts the result to correct BCD value to 60. So the BCD value should be equal to 60. So it adjusts the value to BCD value to 60. So that is what the instruction which we can have it here. Okay. So like this, we can just have the instruction like this. So we'll go with another example where two 4-digit BCD numbers are in internal memory locations at 40. Now this is a program which shows the usage of the DA instruction. Two 4-digit BCD numbers are in the internal memory locations mentioned as something like 40H, 41H, and 42H, and 43H. The most significant digits are in the locations 40 and 42H. That means digit 1, 2 digits of one number has got one MSB, and the next one is going to another MSB. So these two MSBs are stored in 40 and 42H. Add them and store the BCD result in the locations 40 and 41H. Move. Now, how we are normally solving this problem? Just simply we are moving the 43H contents into accumulator. So what is there in 43H? The lower order bits, the lower order BCD bits are there in the 43H. That is moved in A. And what is there in 41H? 41H is normally going to have the other lower order bits of the another BCD number. So first of all, lower order bits have to be added. So we add those two by using the add instruction. Result is stored in the accumulator because these two are BCD numbers. So we should protect the BCD value. That's why we simply perform the instruction. We simply use the instruction DA. So after this DA instruction, we once again go for adding the higher order bits. Then the contents of this A are moved into the 41H registers. So this 41H is normally going to have what now? It's going to have the lower order bits. So the lower order contents are stored in the 41H. Then 42H is going to contain the higher order bits. So are stored in accumulator and add with carry flag with 40H. 40H contains the higher order bits. So these two we add. Once again we apply DA operator. So once we use the instruction DA, then the decimal adjust with carry is being performed. Result is stored in accumulator. That result is stored in the 40H. That means the overall result is normally now stored in the 41H and 40H. 40H contains the higher order bits. 41H memory location contains the lower order bits of the resultant BCD number. So this is how we perform the BCD addition. That means what this particular program is normally going to use the DA instruction. How we normally use the DA instruction to adjust the decimal value for the BCD results. That means DA is going to preserve the BCD result because add is going to perform only based on the decimal values. Whereas we want the BCD result, for that we use the DA instruction. So this is how we normally use the DA instruction in our programming snippets. So with this, we'll stop our class today, and next session we do some other programs on the branching instructions. Thank you very much for the today's session.